Hey, welcome back to our Let's Play of Spelunky as we eagerly await the release of Spelunky 2 and move towards 100%ing the original. Had a bit of a rough go, that's putting it mildly I guess, but it was a rough go on the last session, and I hope I'm back with a renewed vigor, a renewed sense of purpose to discover new things, to reach new levels, unlock new mysteries. Let's get started before that ghost just wrecks me. So we're just going to start a brand new run here. Already I'm seeing a damsel and I just cannot bring myself to leave her behind. So we will pop in here, spend a whole boatload of resources picking her up. And now we're going to be stuck with her until the very end of this stage. But that's fine. That's our code. That's our credo. No damsel left behind. And I intend on sticking to that. So, objectives for this session, similar to what they were last session actually, but we're going to be much more diligent in making those things happen. Altar exploration, yes, we will be sacrificing to altars any creature, living or dead, that we can find. Idol play, no, we will not be touching any idols for fear of angering shopkeepers. And also on the note of shopkeepers, legitimate purchases only. We will not be stealing anything. We will not be attacking shopkeepers. We will not be... What is that, an altar? Okay. So already I'm going to be put to the test. I have 5 HP. Yeah, I'll sacrifice a damsel. That's no problem. Uh-oh. Yep. Yep. Great start. Those big spiders, man, I cannot, and obviously that's how they were designed, but I cannot, for the life of me, understand or predict their movement. Oh my god, I did not know they could squeeze through there. I think we're gonna have a bit of a hard time here, my friends, and that's okay. Practice makes more work. There we go. We got a key up there. Damsel here. We're gonna... Oh yeah, I saw... There's a perfect example of being stun locked. You know, I thought if I dedicated more attention to the game, we'd do better. But I was... Oh, see, again, just completely buried. What sick-minded individual buries a young blonde in the dirt like that? That's just messed up. Messed up. I wonder if you picture, you take people give video games a lot of, they cut them a lot of slack, you know, like if you did anything like this in real life and you compare what you see in video games to real life, I guess is what I'm trying to get at, and you shed away there's no altar, right? You shed away all the cartoon cutesiness and you look at what is actually, like, I've often thought one of the most terrifying. And I never saw the actual Mario Brothers movie. I know that it's universally despised. I never saw it, so I can't speak to it. So that's going to stay out of this conversation. But I think if it was done right, and wouldn't even take much work to do it right, Mario Brothers, the whole franchise in general, would make the most terrifying real-life media property, right? Like, things in sewers are trying to kill you and kidnap princess or women in general. I don't know, but it would not be a far stretch to turn Mario Brothers into a sort of adult, mature media property that is just terrifying. Your only hope, your savior, is a plumber. And I respect the trades. I'm in a low blue collar job myself, but when you think of someone saving the world, you think of some amazing army person, some outdoor, someone who's had some combat experience, and it's a plumber. Our only chance at defeating these evil things coming from the sewer is a plumber, and he doesn't even have a wrench. He just jumps on shit. That's terrifying. But I digress. I actually had a pretty coherent, fleshed out story idea for an actual mature Mario movie. As sad as it sounds, it's one of those things that was a lot better in my head, and when I say it out loud, it's like, that's just kind of sad. Like, does anybody even care about that? But it's one of my favorite sort of, there's the snake pit. One of my favorite ideas for movies, especially now as I'm getting a little older, is classic stuff that I knew as a kid that's given a more mature treatment. Just in terms of, just in terms of the way it handles the story and the characters. It's one of the reasons why I just recently, actually, I didn't see it in theaters. I just recently watched the new Power Rangers movie, and while it wasn't that great, I actually liked a lot about it. You know, it was, I think first and foremost, I needed a little bit more action. There was really not a lot going on until the very end, and there just wasn't a lot happening. But you look at like what they did with the main villain of Rita was amazing. Like, as a kid, when I watched Power Rangers, I mean, Rita was a joke, right? And that's fine, because you're a kid, who cares? But if that media property is now being sold back to me when I'm much older, I don't want the villain to be a joke anymore, right? I'm ready to handle an actual proper villain, and that's what they delivered, and that's what I think some new movies don't manage to deliver on, and some do to various degrees. And I think Power Rangers is an excellent example of how they matured, and not just the villain character. I actually enjoyed all the characters, the way they changed them for the reboot. And where was I going with it? Look at that. But that is a weird setup. She's outside the wall, below the... Whoa, a scorpion on the first? What stage am I on? Oh, it's 1-3. I thought I was only on like the first stage. But yeah, like they handled the maturing audience very well, I think. And I've expressed this idea to people before, and they tend to just think that I'm kind of crazy. But I'm not crazy, because I see it all over the place, in that, you know, the people that are my age that grew up watching certain shows and getting involved in certain lore and enjoying that stuff as kids are now the ones who are, by and large, now the ones who are older and making these reboots, and that is a coffin. That is a bouncing... Oh, that's probably a character. I know that there are characters to unlock that you can play as. I don't know what, if any, benefit. Holy jeez. Get wrecked, son. Wow, he just disappeared. Again, that's sick if you think of it. Whoa, what is that? So do I have to carry you somewhere? Is there a journal entry for this? This is kind of disturbing. Again, if you actually considered this in real life, what is he holding him up with? Both his hands are not on the blue hooded man. How is he holding that creature up? That is terrifying. Disturbing on so many levels. That's not right. Wow. But anyway, as I was saying, like, do I have to take him to the exit? There you go. Whoa, don't even. Drop the rock. Can I jump on him? I can't. Okay, I'm gonna assume that I got him. I don't know. Oh yeah, there he is. Is he gonna follow me the whole time? And we're in the jungle. Hey, just like that. It's like the second run. He is following me. I should sacrifice you to the piranha gods. Oh, we're dead. Anyway, oh, I don't like to be just so thoroughly Oh my god, okay, we've got to focus now. This is ridiculous. Yeah, and of course, there's a snake in the pot. Why wouldn't there be a snake in the pot, right? If I threw him down there, I figured he was just going to go... I thought he'd just go back and get his bow and arrow. And turns out there's another bow and arrow man, or a bow and arrow. Boomerang. And turns out there's just another boomerang there anyway. It's the first time I touched a monkey. Don't quote me on that. Oh, jump! Oh, man. Sorry for the quiet commentary here, but I am trying to oh, I got my whip timing back. That's nice. Got no bombs, though. Just gonna get rid of this guy. That's a nasty totem to put there, a totem pole. For a guy that's got no bombs. We are out. That's pretty impressive. I'm gonna take a sip of coffee here, and then I'm gonna try to refocus the story I was just telling earlier, because it's probably pretty important. Yeah. So anyway, as I was saying, the all these reboots and stuff of classic media properties from like my childhood ages anyway, I really feel like they're being done by the people who my age who watched them at the time. And like I was saying, I was telling someone else about this idea that I had, and they weren't too keen on whether or not I was accurate. But I really, oh, that's just nasty. I really do think that's the case, because I see it in more than just these movies, right? Like I see it in kids shows. I see it in kids shows where they will make jokes. I think I want the we said we'd sacrifice. We're gonna sacrifice. She's right here. It's so easy. Let's see what gift I get. A glove. Thanks. This makes me throw. Yeah. I see it in kids shows where they tell jokes that, you know, are maybe more meant for the adults. And even just in storylines of kids shows that really mirror or pay homage or rip off old TV shows, old, you know, things that I enjoyed when I was young. And I saw one that was a storyline for one kids show that really closely paralleled the storyline of an episode of Seinfeld. And Seinfeld, when I was a kid, even just in reruns, Seinfeld was huge. And can I hit you with this? Yes. But you're like a person. You get the stars on your head. And so when these new creators, the new generation of creators, which is my generation, treat the properties in a more mature way, like the way that they would want to see them now as older adults, I really enjoy that. Is where I was going with this whole meandering discussion here, is that I really enjoy when reboots also mature and aren't just rehashes of the same thing. So imagine, if you would, like I just said, of Mario with and again, I'm not trying to this isn't talking about the old Mario movie, because I don't know about the old Mario Brothers movie, but compared to the video game itself, if you got the Mario license from Nintendo to make a movie, which they probably would never do now because of said former disaster, what would you do with it? You know, and I would want to see, and what would you want to see done with it? I would want to see something a little more grown up. And so where you would start with that would be, it's got to be real actors, right? Which Mario was, but you got to get away from the cartoony, cutesy. You can have some, I mean, you can have some comedy in there. You can have some easygoing stuff in there, but by and large, it should be real actors with real stories. And you make what was essentially cartoon you make it real, and you make the consequences real. You make the stories, you make the problems, you make the characters all real. But set in that sort of very nostalgic sort of set piece that is Mario. That contrast and that nostalgia for me is a huge selling point. Like I love seeing that for some reason. And it goes for anything. Like even I watched the most recent Beauty and the Beast with my kids, and the fact that they used, I mean, I know there was CGI, I'm not totally naive, but the fact that they used real characters, had a much darker sort of take on everything, I thought was great. I mean, I loved that. That was a solid movie for me, just because of that. And I like to just see that. Do the same thing with Little Red Riding Hood. You could do the same thing with every Disney media property, right? Make it a little dark. Make it a little. There's an altar over here. A little risque, a little dangerous. And you got yourself a good movie there. You've got the opportunity. You've laid the stage, the foundation, the groundwork, at least for me. And again, operating on the principle that I'm not the exception. I'm not the only person in the world that thinks a particular way. If you got the groundwork for me, you've probably got the groundwork for a lot of other people to automatically start the rating scale for your movie at like a 5 out of 10. Now, as long as you don't go and lose those free 5 points on your movie, you've got a solid production on your hands. So you take something like Mario, you take something like just about any fairy tale, and fairy tales and in and of themselves are often terrifying anyway. But then you make it a little more adult. You make it, real characters, real actors, a little dark in tone and in visuals. And you gotta, like, Hansel and Gretel, do a real life. Did they do something Into the Woods, or what the heck was that called? Maybe they did do I should go and check that out, because I seem to remember saying, hey, I'd love to watch that for that reason that I've just been describing, right? So I feel like they may have done something. I should check that out and talk about it in an episode. And that looks like an altar down there. So we will definitely be checking that out for our damsel. It's the new home for our damsel and an idol. An altar and an idol and a damsel. We got the world at our fingertips here. Oh, yes. And so I've basically... Oh, get friggin' no. Good old Spelunky. Bouncy boots. Woohoo. I've basically decided that afternoon gaming is going to stretch into another series. Not into another series, but is going to incorporate into its folds, its juicy folds, another game. And I'll be alternating either daily or every couple of days or week to week. Dungeon of the Endless, and I want to dive back into that game and try that out, because it's got a killer soundtrack. It's got a gameplay loop that I enjoy. The only thing that I had trouble with was just the difficulty of the game. The higher difficulties were pretty tough. Even just getting further down or further up, as the case may be, in that game, even on the easier difficulties, I found it scaled up pretty quickly, got tough pretty quick. But I can't remember how far I've made it in the past. I'm sure I had a few successful runs. I'm by no means a master at it, but I had a great time. Again, with that soundtrack, the gameplay loop, it was a lot of fun. What is this? Oh, the web gun. I don't know how I feel about that. Oh, I know how I feel about that. I hate it. I know how I feel about this young lady, though. I am for the damsel. That's why another thing I wonder, like, how many people had, like, video game crushes? Like, I'm sure, like, Tomb Raider was huge for a lot of people. I was not a PlayStation guy when I was at that age, so I didn't have the Lara Croft sort of exposure that a lot of people did. Again, excuse me, I just need some caffeine here. It's been a rough day. I'm not too big on having coffee later in the day, but, or I should say I am, but a lot of people aren't. Hey, we made it to the jungle. Good on us. It was 3 HP. We'll fix that pretty quick. Yep, look at that. I basically, it was bouncing up here, bouncing down here, came across, I was here, and I basically said, I need to go over here to be hit by that rock, and I moved into its path. What a genius. What an absolute genius. This is sweaty pustules everywhere. Once we figure out the mystery of the altar, we're going to switch to the mystery of the sweaty pustule. And we will try our best to unlock this mystery, because it shows up basically all the time. Like, even as seldom as I make it to the jungle, I seem to see it every single time. So it should be pretty easy to solve. Whoa. I just love getting hit by my own rocks. But yeah, video game crushes. I wonder how common that was. Like, I'm sure. And for ladies, I don't imagine there's much. For straight ladies, I don't imagine, or non-straight males too, I guess. Was there much in the video game world for you to crush? I know, but for me, that was never what it was about. So it didn't bother me that, you know, that none of that stuff was in games, right? That's not what games were for. This is just about impossible. Why would you do this to me? That's just cruel. So yeah, so I never went looking to games for that kind of stuff, to fill those needs, those crush, you know, pubescent hormone-addled needs, right? And there was media for that. There was television. There was movies, and so predominantly all my crush-related attention would have been focused there, and that is a huge wasp. What am I supposed to do with that? Look at how erratically he's moving. Oh, that was easy. Killer bee. A bee with a harpoon-sized stinger. It's very protective of its hive, so there's going to be more. Isn't that wonderful? Well, that was lucky timing. That was lucky. There's a bit of a gap in vines here. Can we make that? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, there's a friggin' hive, too. Blue ones and red ones. Well, guess what? You're about to have a bad day. Oh, mama. What was I thinking? That it wasn't going to do a full tile damage? And there was something over there that I wanted to see anyway. Should have known better. Anyway, we're going to put a cut in here. We'll be back. I'm going to talk some more about not adult movies, but mature movies that were based on media properties previously dedicated to children, because that is just a riveting topic, right? Anyway, until then, thanks very much. See you soon.